You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, another night, another result for the Houston Astros against the Pittsburgh Pirates that you do not like one bit, as they drop the series, drop game 2 of this series overall, and are in danger of being swept out tomorrow in the finale of this series. And to make the matters even better, the Astros, with the loss tonight, have fallen out of first place in the American League West thanks to the Mariners beating the Red Sox earlier tonight. So the Astros are one game back in the AL West. It's been a trying last couple of days to be an Astros fan overall. We have a lot to get to with it. We will talk about this game quite a bit early on. We will finish it with the final thoughts on the trade deadline, just kind of to wrap up some things that were a little bit left over from last night and the reaction to it. And I'm going to be honest with you, people getting mad that other people are upset that the trade looks like it's butt. I mean, this is what it is. But today's episode of the Locked On Astros Postcast brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/MLB and use code all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. So let's start things off with tonight's baseball game. Last night, of course, you should have won that game, correct? Yeah, you should have. You had a lead, and late, you blew it. And then you blew the tie, and you ended up getting beat pretty good. Tonight, you just got your butt kicked. Simple as that. Hunter Brown went out there and did not have a good start. He ended up getting through, I'm pulling my box score, 5 2/3. Second consecutive start where he gave up a ton of hits. 4 earned runs, 5 total, 8 strikeouts tonight, but 9 hits in the game. That does snap his streak of 12 consecutive starts with his outing going 6 innings, so he wasn't able to keep that up. But that's 2 straight where hits have been aplenty. You know, he did that against the A's in his last start where there was traffic on the base pass every single inning. And he kind of got lucky that he was playing the A's. And, you know, they grounded into double plays. And tonight, you know, played in a team. Now, I'm not trying to put down the A's offense by any means. They've been actually a pretty decent offensive team this season. That's why they're better than you probably expect them to be overall. And when you play them, you see, you know, that they're not the worst team in the world. They're not good, but they're not the worst team in the world. There's a little bit of something there with that baseball team. But he just gave up hits left and right in that one. And then it happened again today. He's not going to be perfect like every starter, of course. I don't expect perfection. That would be silly of me. Why would anybody expect perfection? That does not happen in this sport. This sport is a dumb sport. And sometimes, you know, it will do dumb things. Tonight wasn't where it did dumb things. They just did not get a good enough start out of their starter. Simple as that. I mean, you know, I wish that he went out there and pitched the way that he has pitched, of course, because he's been pretty darn awesome for this team. He's pitched like an ace of this staff now for quite some time. But these are the nights where you go ahead and say, you know, like, man, should have gone even over the top even more to go get yourself a starter instead of just getting Yusei Kikuchi, because, you know, these guys still will have nights where they fall back just a little bit. Simple as that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm concerned about Hunter Brown by any means, but look, he's had some blips on the radar recently. There's just no other way around it. His overall turnaround this season and the way that he has basically gone about getting outs has, you know, kind of changed my thought process on him all season long. Like I know it has all of you. So they didn't get enough out of him tonight. They also did not get enough out of their offense in this baseball game again tonight. You know, it's like it gets at the time so up and down for them. And it's not an Astros exclusive thing. This is a thing that goes on across the sport, correct? Yes. Go watch a game. Teams, go watch a team, focus on a team. It's not the Astros for a few days, and you'll see it there too. Like, it's not going to be every day that it's great. That's life, right? In general, not every day of your life is great. Not every day of hitting a baseball is great. And they had another one of those, unfortunately, today. Like, I could sit here and tell you all about the pitching and whatnot, but the pitching will not matter, even if they have a bad night like they did tonight. If the Astros offense goes out there like they have for two consecutive nights and scored 3 runs and then 2. You're not going to win a lot of games scoring that few runs. Just not. And we know that. You just can't get it done. The only guy in the lineup tonight that had anything was what? Yainer Diaz. Yainer Diaz went 4 for 4 tonight. He's up to 295 on the season. Good for him. Keeps driving in runs, too. He's up to, he's the team leader in runs batted in this season. He's up to, how many has he got now? 58. He's going to push 100 runs driven in this season. But you get nothing out of Altuve tonight, just 1 hit. Nothing out of Bregman, nothing out of Jordan, basically. Nothing out of Pena. Myers, Singleton. I mean, nobody. I mean, they had somehow, for a guy, you get a whole lot of nothing out of everybody. Somehow they pounded out 10 hits still. Now, of course, only one of them went for an extra base, that being Yainer Diaz's home run. So, there's no thump in it. They didn't have opportunities to even have runners in scoring position tonight. They only had 5. They were 0 for 5 in those situations. They left 8 men on base, but they didn't even have opportunities, really, which is just wild to an extent. I mean, you looked at the matchup tonight, and you said Bailey Falter. This is a guy that hadn't been unbelievable in his last few starts. I'm just pulling up his game log right now. Hadn't been great. I mean, yeah, his last few outings, he wasn't very good. He hadn't been very good overall this season. He just carved him up. And I don't know, that one, I can't tell you if it's an Astros thing or not, but it's felt like it's been a thing for a while. As you face these guys that, you look at and you go, the Astros crush that guy. And then they go out there and they don't crush him. And I could go, well, it's because they don't see these guys all the time. Well, I mean, the Pirates don't see the Astros pitching. They've done okay. They did okay tonight. They'd never seen Hunter Brown before. Didn't matter. Just a frustrating night. Frustrating couple of days. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm exhausted from the last couple of days being an Astros fan. Good news. If you are exhausted from Astros baseball, Thursday night, we'll have our first Locked On Texans postcast after Texans and Bears Hall of Fame game. So make sure you come and hang out with us for that. Sorry, I'm going to yawn right in the middle of this, which you're not supposed to do when you're on a microphone. It's been a very long day. But we'll have Thursday night Texans Bears postcast right here on this channel. We do this for Rockets, Texans, and Cougs, and the Astros, of course. And hopefully some postseason baseball for them. But right now, if the season ended today, who doesn't love that game? The Astros would not be a postseason team because they are currently 3 games out of the wild card. Game out in the division now because they lost this game tonight. We got more to get to. Let's check in on how you're feeling, how I'm feeling, how the entire world's feeling with this team. Coming up in just a few moments before we get to our final thoughts on the trade deadline. We'll do that in just a brief second right here after a loss on our Locked On Astros postcast. SupplyHouse.com. You need to go get your supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trade, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Locked On Astros Postcast. Following a loss. Thank you for joining us. If you're live on the channel tonight and you are new to it, please hit that subscribe button. Come on back. Don't be a stranger. We don't bite. Sometimes we get a little mad. Sometimes we get a little angry. You know, we can get a little wild in the comments. I haven't checked on you guys in the comments tonight. And I'm not going to lie to you because I'm sure that a lot of you are freaking out like, sorry, I can't quit this yawning thing. That the season is like over right now. That the Astros have done all these terrible things and they're going to start losing baseball games left and right. Like, I can't. It's such a cyclical sport. I mean, one day you're up, the next day you're down. It's like I say, baseball's stupid sometimes. And right now, baseball is stupid, in my opinion. Stupid. It's a stupid sport. And the Astros right now are stupid. Tomorrow, they might not be stupid. The sport might not be stupid. It might be great, all of it. They go out there and they pound out 15 hits, 12 runs, and they just smoke the Pirates. And they salvage a game in this series. That's okay. You know? That's what this sport does to you, though. And I asked the question there, are you worried? How are you feeling? I don't think it's fair to be worried yet about this baseball team. I mean, look, if they started playing like this consistently every night, like they did tonight, where, I mean, they just played a bad baseball game, right? A really bad baseball. I mean, heck, they had 3 errors in the game. I failed to mention that in the first few minutes of the show. 3 errors. That's not Astros baseball. We all know that. I mean, you're not going to win games when you're doing silly things like that. And that's what they did tonight. And last night, you know, the bullpen made mental errors and threw pitches in spots that, you know, were going to get you in trouble. Here's what I do know, and I didn't put this one up there tonight, and I'm sorry I didn't. I should have been committed to my commitment, which is saying that tomorrow's a must-win game. But yeah, tomorrow they got to go win. They have to go win tomorrow. They'll have Framber Valdez on the mound. By the way, tomorrow it's not a day game. Usually you get a day game for these getaway days, but tomorrow is a 7:10 first pitch. I would assume the Pirates have the day off on Thursday. That's why. But 7:10 tomorrow night, Framber Valdez. No starter announced yet for the Pirates because they were scheduled to start Martin Perez, who was actually traded today to the San Diego Padres. So they're going to have to announce a starter. I haven't seen anything from them just yet. I would imagine that it's going to be the guy that was next in line in the rotation. I think he would pitch on regular rest. So we'll see if that happens. But in all likelihood, the Astros are going to have a matchup that you look at and you say, hey, you know what? Astros could do all right today. Astros should do all right today. Hopefully, again, that's the case tomorrow. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm worried about this baseball team. And I just don't think that overall it's necessarily fair to be worried about them at this moment. Again, if this was a prolonged period of time where they played really bad baseball, sure, you could be worried. Maybe you're worried that they've made the wrong decisions on who to keep, whatever it might be. That's fine. But I think that this season is going to be exactly what we see this season being. They're not going to run away and get a commanding lead at all in the American League West at any point. It's going to be a back-and-forth game the next 2 months. Strap in. Prepare yourself mentally. This team is not built to get out and sprint. It's not. Not every team is like that, and that's fine. So many of these teams in this franchise's run that they've had in the last few years have been teams that can get out and sprint at any point in the year. That's not this team. You are going to grind all summer long. Summer's got a couple of months left, so prepare yourself for a 2-month grind. Can you handle it? Can your sports fandom handle it? I think that's a great question to ask yourself. I think you can. You've done it before. It's been a roller coaster of emotion now for 2 days when it comes to being a fan of this franchise. And they've capped it off each of the last 2 days with just some. Yesterday was horrendous to go and cough it up like that. Today was just another kick in the teeth. There's more pain. It's been a while since I've had that kind of pain feeling with this baseball team. I just don't think it's going to stick around. I really don't. Now, the schedule, we've talked a lot about the schedule. You got the Rays coming to town this weekend after this series, which, Tampa's shipped off some important pieces that we'll see how that goes. Then they go on the road. The rest of this month is basically on the road. I shouldn't say basically on the road. There's a lot of road on this month. At the Rangers, at the Red Sox, at the Rays for 3 consecutive series. So there's a little pocket here that it gets a little tough, and then you play the White Sox. I mean, look, they're playing tough teams this month. It's put up or shut up time. Last 2 days has been shut up time. It's time to put up tomorrow. You have to come back out there. You have to win that baseball game and find yourself a way to win. Because you're at the stage of the season now where we're going to the last 2 months of the year. It's still so weird that the deadline's not on the 31st. I don't get what baseball's done in the last couple of years where they've flipped and flopped it all around. Whatever. It's Rob Manfred. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's clueless. But this team is running out of time when it comes to just simple amount of games. Especially if they wanted to build some sort of significant enough lead to where maybe in the last week of the season it's basically wrapped up, and then they wrap it up with a few games left, and then you could sit everybody. That's not going to be the reality for this baseball team. It's just not. They've given you every reason why you shouldn't believe that. So, how they fight through this is going to be very interesting. And it's going to be very interesting to see if they come out in this month of August and they struggle. Because if they do, a lot of people are going to point back to what happened at this trade deadline. We'll talk about that trade deadline, get some final thoughts on it. The Astros, of course, made the big move last night that we spent most of our time on, getting Yusei Kikuchi, giving up a ton for him. But they also made another move today for somebody that, okay, that I guess he plays baseball and he is left-handed and he throws it. And his last name's Ferguson. So we'll talk about all of that to start winding down this show here in a couple of seconds. After the Astros fall to the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Oh, boy. Getting absolutely clobbered to an extent. 6-2 the final. Again, trade deadline final thoughts on that coming up in just a brief second here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Right now, though, I got to tell you about Prize Picks. What are you doing with your life? Are you not playing Prize Picks? Well, then you're wasting your time. You better start spending that time properly by playing America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. That's Prize Picks, baby. You can get in on the excitement and win up to 100 times your cash with the summer games on Prize Picks. Prize Picks, you could earn you could turn $10 into $1,000 while watching Team USA rack up the gold medals this summer. You can make Prize Picks lineups of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds. Just go pick one or more or just pick more or less, on 2 to 6 players' stat projections, and you're locked in. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Locked On Astros Postcast continuing here on a Tuesday night. And as soon as we get done with this show, guess what your man right here is about to do? That's what I'm about to do. The Astros put me into that lull tonight. They made me sleepy watching them play. They didn't do anything. And you know what? I'm even more mad about it because if you listen to this show, watch this show, you know this. You know this. If they're going to lose, I always say, lose fast. Guess what they didn't do? They didn't lose fast. They lost slowly tonight. I actually do have a surprise for you guys tonight because this doesn't happen very often. And yeah, you're going to see the top of my head, or not even see the top of my head anymore for a couple of seconds because some of you have asked about this recently. And we actually do have a very special guest on the show tonight. Kind of our show mascot here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. And guess what? Coco is here. Coco's in the building. That's right. She may or may not have been sleeping on the floor next to my feet in a blanket, and she's ready to go to bed like I am. But the show mascot is here. She's here to bring you brighter times. When the Astros lose, we might as well bring Coco out, right? And try and get, the good vibes going. She's been in her life now. The Astros have always been to the American League Championship Series, and they've won a World Series. Yeah, sure, they lost another one, but she's really wanting to get down and get back in her blanket right now because she's like, it's bedtime, man. Let's go. But yeah, there you go. I just figured I wanted to brighten your spirits today. I know that you guys are down in the dumps, the trade deadline just a bit. So I figured I'd bring Coco out, and now she's just going to sit in my lap because she's ready to go back to bed. Final thoughts on the trade deadline. Of course, the Kikuchi trade. I mean, we said it all last night. It's still today. I woke up with the same thought as I had last night. What are you doing? And then you kind of saw some of the trades that happened from, throughout the day today. Whether that was, really the one that bugged you the most is the Jack Flaherty deal going to the Dodgers. They gave up their number 29 prospect or something. And like the guy who's the number 3 prospect, the numbers that he's put up this year at high A have not been very good. And I think, this is social media, I get it. Like, I went off on it last night. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with going off on it. Because I think it's just living in reality of what the trade was last night. It was an overpay. Like, it's just that simple. It was an overpay. And you can acknowledge that. It's okay. That doesn't mean you're not rational. Like, I got all these people, you used to be this rational. No, it's not that I'm not rational anymore. It's that I can call things for what they are. If you don't like the truth, then I'm sorry. I live in a world where it's just about truth. That's what yesterday was. You had a GM get outclassed. And if you don't think that he did, then I got some oceanfront property to sell you out in Arizona. That's what happened. Today, they make another trade, which is crazy to see them go and trade with the Yankees. They pick up the Ferguson guy who had like a 5 ERA with the Yankees in 33 innings this year. I don't know. Whatever. Underwhelming. I do wonder how the clubhouse took it. Imagine if you're one of those guys been here for a while. And I will say this. I see the comments here, Guillermo. I do kind of agree with you that nobody wanted the deadline. The deadline was terrible. There are no great players being moved. To me, no real difference makers being moved left and right. Players that matter that can help, elevate teams from where they're at, sure. But like nobody that was like, oh my goodness, you got to go out and just pay the world for these players. The Astros paid the world. And look, I get it. We talked about it last night. And again, people get so twisted up and so caught up and just wanting to be right on, telling somebody else that what they're saying is not right. Oh, you don't know, Joe. You don't know that any of those guys are going to be good major leaguers. Okay, yeah, sure. I get that. But like at some point, you have to quit tossing away young players. You have to take chances on them. Come back to me when if Joey Loperfido turns into at least above average outfielder in the major leagues offensively, and then after next season the Astros let Kyle Tucker walk, come back and talk to me then. You're not going to be so happy then, will you? Sure, he's got holes in his game. I get it. Every player does when they come up. Think about how you felt about Kyle Tucker when he came up. Everybody sent him out to the freaking... You guys wanted to throw him away. Hated him. People hated him. Not everybody comes up and goes like that. It takes time sometimes. So that's why it's frustrating. And it's really frustrating because you got a pitcher that, again, I know he's got stuff. He's got stuff. He's always had stuff. Yeah, Coco's sticking her head up. She's getting really upset now. But he gets hit around like crazy. Absolute crazy. I know, you want to go to bed. Don't worry, we're about 2 minutes away from going to bed, girl. But, it's just unbelievable to me that that's what happened the last couple of days. That is the deadline that the Astros pumped out. I mean, it was very obvious that, one, Jim Crane gave a directive that you can't go too far on money, and that's a shame. You should have you've gone this far, bleep it. Go all in. They failed their team. They failed their chances at winning another World Series when it came to the trade deadline. That's just as simple as it gets. I don't think that's, kicking them while they're down or doing anything else. But they simply did not do anything to elevate their status at this moment. We'll do it again tomorrow after the 7:10 first pitch against the Pirates, where the Astros will look to avoid the sweep. As you can see now, I disrupted the little one here, her slumber. It's time to get her to bed. And, you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. Hopefully we'll have something good to talk about tomorrow right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.